Spartans, today we have our Mobility C as part of our Murph Mobility program. If not, if you want to perform this for general purposes, by all means. Today we have neck cars. It's going to be a controlled articular rotations. So it's not so much that we're just performing neck stretches by making big circular motions. We're trying to intentfully move around our joints, pushing those end ranges as we rotate all the way across our specific actions. So in which case, as we start with our head down in flexion, we rotate to our side, and we go and laterally flex, trying to get our ear to touch our shoulder, pull back into complete extension, and perform the opposite actions on the other side. Intentful actions is what makes the difference. Continuing this, we move into our thoracic cars. Now we're moving towards our upper back, closer to the middle of our spine, but we perform the same actions. Still rotating across from flexion to lateral flexion, adding a little bit of rotation, going to extension, pulling all the way back, and completing the motion on the opposite side. So we go clockwise and counterclockwise. Every time we rotate, we always want to try to get the maximum range of motion as possible. So we're always pushing to the outer ranges in which we can flex, lateral flex, extend, and rotate. Moving forward from our 90-90 rotations, now we specifically place ourselves in that position. However, we're focusing now on maximizing range of motion through internal rotation. So we rotate towards our back leg, thinking about getting the opposite shoulder towards that back ankle as much as possible. We reach for the biggest stretch possible, and if we do this right, we should be able to hit the inside of our groin. Now that we've opened up the joint, our goal is to now train it. So in order for us to get stronger within the joint and maintain the range of motion that we've now improved, we're going to go ahead and try to maximize our rotations within that. So maintaining our upper body over our front leg, we go ahead and raise the back knee as high as possible while keeping the ankle down, and reach for more range of motion every single repetition, moving that femur as much as we can. Now, to further improve the strengthening of our end ranges, we get ourselves into the world's greatest stretch. The key here is you want to make sure that you squeeze the glute of the long leg to maximize your hip flexor or front side of your hip stretch. We open up the groin by pushing the knee out of our front leg as much as possible, still maintaining our ankle directly beneath our knee. As we hold the position, from there we go to perform some thoracic rotations as we continue to stretch the groin and the hamstring, depending on how tight or how flexible you are. As you add the thoracic rotations, depending on what your flexibility is, you want to reach for more range of motion every rep. Our pigeon stretch works particularly on stretching out the glute and the groin, again, depending on where your flexibility takes you and what your current range of motion is. But depending on where you can sit and where you can feel the best stretch, you can either sit up tall or you can reach forward to further stretch the glute on that bent knee and hold those positions for 30 to 60 seconds at a time. Now that we've worked on our glute, we're going to focus on the hamstring using towel to help assist, either making this more passive or active. Pull to the desired range of motion that you can where it's uncomfortable but not painful. As we make our way up our body, the next thing we got is going to be spinal segmentation, or otherwise known as cat-camel. From here we take our spine through maximal flexion and maximal extension. Extension being as you're trying to push your belly button to the ground. You get through maximal flexion by pushing your upper back to the sky and rounding out as much as possible every single rep. Now for this particular mobility routine, we focus on shoulder flexion, as it tends to be a painful side for a lot of people based off the way they train or by the actions that they perform for work every single day. We lie in the prone position so that way we can go to eliminate other bodily movements that tend to compensate for us to get weight over our head. So we start by retracting our shoulder blades down and back towards our hips, and work by trying to raise our arms above our head as much as we possibly can, and hold those positions by isometrically contracting our shoulder muscles as much as we can to improve that range and strengthen that end range. If you wanted to work one particular side at a time, lean over to the shoulder that you're working and try to start from a position that barely raises your arm 2 to 3 inches off the ground. From there, you can go ahead and use your opposite hand to place your body in a good position where you can raise and squeeze your shoulder maximally and hold for the specific allotted time. And now, as previously mentioned with our hips, now that we've opened up a specific range, we're going to go and train through those ranges. So, working with the prone swimmers, we take ourselves through maximal internal and external rotation. We've opened up shoulder flexion, so now we're going to go ahead and work to try to maximize our external and internal rotational capabilities and squeeze those upper back muscles as much as we can through each rotation. And now to complement this, we take our upper back through maximal rotation. We've isometrically squeezed our upper back muscles through 2 different actions, Now we're going to try to maximize its rotational capabilities, taking it through this quadruped exercise. Every single repetition, work to open up just a little bit more and improve that range. And last but not least, now that we've taken it through our full body, we're going to work our way back down to our ankles to help improve our dorsiflexion actions. Dorsiflexion, in terms of our ankle, if you want to think about it, it's flexing your toes towards your shin. This is very, very key when we're thinking about squatting and deadlifting, because the current range of motion that we do have will dictate the type of squat and deadlift motions that we perform. So we can work to isolate this and maximize this by placing a lot of our body weight over the particular joint itself and pushing forward, locking our foot into the ground. If we need to use assistance, which I highly recommend, you can use a post or a door frame to help push yourselves to that end range and push your knee up against the wall, or find a spot where it's slightly off the wall to work as a guide to push for more range.